I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. Doing my morning video a little later than normal. I apologize for that. Been watching cartoons. Not gonna lie to you. We're gonna start a Looney Tunes trivia today. It's gonna span a couple days. Amazing trivia. You guys are gonna love this one. But right now from Anthony Spices, isn't that who this is from? You betcha. Hey, it's early. That's not even my bird. It's in a different neighborhood, different house, but he's still making noise. There's one that, it's crazy. The one that comes over here and comes around when I do videos, he lands on top of that cactus, and the spine's on it that long. I don't know how he does it. He doesn't like land on it and just stay there like he's stuck. It's remarkable. All right, Anthony Spices. All right, so Grim Reaper, Carolina Reaper hot sauce. You know, I've heard the name used before, but it is what it is, people. Hotter than Hades, it says. Alrighty, this appears to be a mash for all intent and purpose. Listen to this. And I'm not knocking him. I promise you, this is going to be a scorcher. Listen to this. Number one ingredient is Carolina Reaper puree. It's the number one ingredient. Meaning the largest, they do it in order of this, you know, percentages. So the greatest, the first ingredient, the largest ingredient in the whole thing is Carolina Reaper puree. Then we got red jalapeno puree, which is citric acid water. We also have in it Carolina Reaper powder. We also have in it Carolina Reaper pepper flakes. We have white vinegar. We have a little garlic, a little salt, and a little xanthan gum. Here's the thing. In spite of how much, it doesn't seem like it's wicked thick. I can promise it's going to be, I promise you it's going to be a scorcher. Yeah. So it's going to be a pretty day here. Yesterday was cold and nasty all day. Here is the consistency of this sauce. So there must be a decent amount of vinegar in it. Absolutely, completely acceptable. I have no problem paying as much as $13, $14 for a really good bottle of sauce. I really don't. Especially like if you buy it from big companies, you know, you can buy sauces for cheap because they're making them in such incredible, ridiculous quantities. They can sell them for cheaper. When you get them from a small craft, you're going to pay more, but it's going to be a better sauce typically. So $8, $9, $8.99. Forget about it. It's worth it. If it's a good sauce, it's worth it. We got a flow restrictor here. Now, flow restrictors are funny. I talk about them all the time. The only time I think it's okay to use a flow restrictor if it's just so hot and thin enough. Heat really isn't the problem. It's the thickness that's the problem. If it's just so thin, like watery thin, like a Louisiana hot sauce, I can see putting a flow restrictor in it. But if it's just hot, I don't know. But this is pretty thin, so I'm gonna leave it on for now. But then I'm gonna take it off because I just see this is the reason right here. This is exactly the reason I don't like flow restrictors. As Anthony Spices is watching me struggle to get this on a spoon, it should dawn on them that maybe they should get rid of their flow restrictors. People will go through your sauce faster and buy it quicker, especially if it's a good sauce. I did one already for Anthony Spices, and I liked it. So we'll see if we get a twofer here. Lose the flow restrictors. I mean, if they pay you $0.25 to put one in every bottle, it's still a loser to put them in your bottles. You have to pay for them. I know you do. And it's slowing down how fast. I'm sorry. I got to stop doing that. I'll stop doing that. Grim Reaper hot sauce, Carolina Reaper hot sauce from Anthony Spices. I'm Johnny Scoville. This is Chase the Heat. If you simply read the ingredient, I like this sauce before I say a word. I'm removing the flow restrictor. Now, let me ask you a question, Anthony Spices. Do you want me to, I like the way this sauce tastes. I'm Johnny Scoville, I eat a lot of hot sauce. Do you want me to leave this flow restrictor in here? Because I promise, if I do, I'm gonna, it won't buy a bottle as quick. If I take it off, I promise you I'll buy a bottle faster. This is a good sauce. It's not as hot as you would think simply by reading the ingredient list. There is I don't want to say watered down because that's a horrible word. It's a thinner, although it does have water in it. It is a thinner version of a Carolina Reaper mass, essentially. That's what it is. I mean, it's mostly all Carolina Reaper. It's got a little bit of jalapeno in there. And this is not a gripe at all. This is a hot sauce. You know what this is? My dad. I'm telling you, the longer this is the month he's been dead. He died 3 years ago. And he just gets smarter all the time to me. He said, under promise and over deliver. When you have a job and they tell you, under promise and over deliver. Tell them what you're going to do, but do more. This is a case of under promising and over delivering. Nowhere on here does it tell you how hot it's going to be. That doesn't, well, you know. There's no, you know, there's not, most certain companies have like a rate, like a medium, it'll say medium, hot, whatever. 4 spices out of 5. Look at the label, please. All right, do you see any promise of anything? There's no promises, no percentages. This is under promise. This is under promising and over delivering. This is a great bottle of sauce for $9. It's a little on the salty side, but if you're a person who likes salty stuff, it's a great sauce. Here, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna buy more of this sauce, but I'm putting the flow restrictor back on it, and we'll see how long it takes before I buy another bottle. I'm telling you. Here's the thing about this. And if anybody from their company, I'm not picking on them. I'm on your team, dude. Please listen or do that, whatever. I'm on your team. You want me buying a bottle quicker, don't you? Don't you? Because I'm telling you, this isn't so hot that it needs a flow restrictor, nor is it so thin. So this is a perfect example of a bottle that has it's absurd to have a flow restrictor on this thing. I put it back on. I'll let you guys know when it's empty. I promise you, if without a flow restrictor, I'm going to overdo it all the time. I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. Here's why I don't understand it. They buy them. It costs, you're paying money to slow down how fast they use your product. If you buy them in bulk, they're a penny a piece. If they paid me, and I own a sauce company, if they paid me a penny a piece and gave them to me for free and paid me a penny to put them in my bottle, I wouldn't do it. If they paid me a nickel for every bottle I sell to put a flow restrictor on it, I wouldn't do it. I'm trying to think of where I would. I think out of principle, I just wouldn't, but if you take principle away, if they gave me 50 cents a bottle to put a 50 cents for everyone to put a flow restrictor on it, I'd consider it. You're paying money. I'm sorry. I just don't understand. All right, so let's go. Oh, by the way, somebody asked an interesting question. In the video, in the Super Hots, and I didn't respond to it. I thought maybe they'll watch the video. In Super Hots, there's a dude on the street. He goes, "Is it hot?" And I say no, and he eats it. I didn't prank him. If you watch that's the way they edited it. We were talking about, is it going to kill you hot? I said, no, it's not that hot. It's not hot, like it's going to hurt you hot. And if you watch the whole thing, that you have to understand, it took 15 minutes of talking with that guy before he ate it. If you look at the video on Super Hot, if you watch Super Hot, that clip, I just say it's not hot, and I give it to him, and he eats it, and he gets burned up. I have said since the day I've started my channel, I am not a dude who pranks people, especially with peppers, or anything hot, because you run the risk of having somebody that could have had a wonderful, glorious experience in life, eating spicy things and trying different spice and just experiencing that. You might steal that from them because you could hurt them and they'll say, well, it's never again. I am not a guy who pranks people. So that's, honest to goodness, that's one spot of editing that didn't really look good. And I also, the only time I ever refund is on contests. I don't do that if I'm just eating a pepper. Anyway, let's get into some really great Looney Tunes. Let me see, I want to start with the first one. Yeah, I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16, about 20. So I'll spread it out. I'll do 5 per day. We'll do 5 today, okay? All right, so this is Looney Tune trivia, and it's amazing stuff. Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, and this is the reason I'm reading this one first, is I live in Looney Tune land. So I've had days where I've seen the 3 main characters of Looney Tunes right there. I've seen a coyote, haven't seen one today. I've seen a roadrunner and a bunny, all in the same day. We call it the hat trick. But anyway, the first trivia about Looney Tunes is Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner adhere to certain rules. And I thought this was so cool. And you know it. This is stuff we always kind of knew, but you didn't know that it was written in stone, and they had to. But listen to this. Although initially intended to be a parody of cartoons like Tom and Jerry, the shorts featuring Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner became incredibly popular in their own right. Although the show might seem like chaos at all times, a hawk just flew through my yard. Not one of the Looney Tunes characters. Although the show might seem like it's in chaos at all times, the writers actually established ahead of time a set of rules that the two characters must follow. By the way, the flavor on this is mostly Reaper. It really is good. It's vinegary. It's way more vinegary than I thought it was going to be. The heat for a chili head would be way uncomfortable. You wouldn't like it. A chili head would find this to be a 7 and up. There'd be many that would say it was a 6, but it's a good sauce. All right, for example, the Roadrunner could only harm the coyote one way, and that's by startling him with his trademark meep meep. That was it. But that was like wounding the coyote. Hated it. And he had to stay on the road at all times. On the other hand, the coyote's greatest enemy was always gravity, and we knew that. And all of the weapons and tools he acquired had to be products of Acme, baby, Acme Corporation. And although some rules were broken at times, for the most part, they were upheld. I've used the analogy. One of the rules, a great example of when it was broken. There's a famous scene, and this is what I've been doing my whole life. There's a famous episode a classic, I should say, and you'll remember this. It's a classic where the Roadrunner is as quick as he can trying to get away from being lunch for Wile E. Coyote, and the coyote is gaining on him. You see his feet are a blur, and he's leaning forward, and the more he leans forward, the faster he gets, and he's literally gaining on the Roadrunner. And they're on a cliff, on a ledge, about that wide. And there's like a wicked right hand, like a 90-degree turn. And the Roadrunner, he handles like a rat with sneakers, man. That thing can just corner like that. It can. So he just did a 90-degree at 80 miles an hour, and no problem. He went fine. Well, the coyote couldn't. He ran off the cliff. Remember what he did? He kept running, and he had no problem. He didn't fall. He kept running. The only time, and he stops, and he looks around, and he reaches down and feels there's nothing there. And when he looks down, he doesn't fall, though, until what? Until he looks down, and that's when gravity grabs him. What I've been doing my whole life is I just don't look down. I'm just going to keep on running. I know I'm doing things I probably shouldn't be doing. Like I'm achieving things I probably shouldn't be able to achieve. Like they're all happening by accident. I'm not looking down. I'm just going to keep on running. Not looking down. But yeah, all these things that are happening, like why are they happening to me? I feel like I'm dreaming this. The Tasmanian Devil only appeared in 5 shorts, and that was it. Isn't that crazy? Far more famous than 5 shorts could possibly lead to. The guy's a genius. Although the Tasmanian Devil, or Taz,
Maybe one of the first Looney Tune characters that might come to mind. Incredibly, he wasn't a significant part of the original series at all, making his debut in 1954, 10 years before the studio closed. Taz only appeared in a mere 5 shorts. Nevertheless, the popularity exploded in the 1990s when he began to make other television appearances. Merchandise was made of him, and he even had his own show called Taz-Mania. You may remember it. Surprised you didn't know that. His overall popularity is understandable considering what a memorable character he is. Quick note, Papa Scoville loved Taz. Loved the Tasmanian Devil's favorite was when he goes, "Why you bury me in cold, cold ground?" That's how he says it. And my dad, that slayed my father. All right, this is one of my favorites. You know what? How many have I read? How many have I read so far? I'll make that the last because that's such a good one. Yeah, the last of today's will be that one. I have 3 more to read to you. Listen to this one. Bugs Bunny actually changed the meaning of the word helped to change the meaning of the word Nimrod. Bugs Bunny helped to popularize the word Nimrod, which he always used to describe the less than impressive hunter, Elmer Fudd. Bugs always managed to evade the determined hunter, regularly humiliating him. Easy. Humiliating him. He's there. He's sitting on top of the cactus. Humiliating him in the process, while Bugs would comment, "What a Nimrod." It actually meant something that went way over the most audience's heads. It was supposed to be a backhanded statement because in the book of Genesis, the great grandson of Noah, named Nimrod, is described as being a mighty hunter. Somewhat Fudd was not. So it was kind of like a joke. Audience eventually assumed that the meaning it meant someone who was slow or dim-witted, which is the definition that most people think today. If you call someone a Nimrod, it's sort of an insult. And that's kind of how it worked, but it wouldn't have been if it weren't for Looney Tunes. All right, I want to read this one. He's sitting right there. I don't know how he lands on those things. I swear they're that long. He's just sitting right on top of it. And it appears to be looking at me. It really does. He's going to start talking. Looney Tunes. Maybe he's here for the Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes has won 5 Academy Awards. This is incredible. It's clear that Looney Tunes has made a massive cultural impact throughout the decades, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. Over the years, the franchise earned 5 Academy Awards, all of which were for Best Short Subject Cartoon category. One of the first was in 1949 for Sentimental Reasons. And Mental Reasons. Can you remember who was in that? You can figure it out by the name. Sentimental. That would be Pepe Le Pew. In an attempt to seduce another skunk that turns out to be a cat with some paint on its back. Another in 1959 for Nighty Night Bugs, in which Bugs Bunny is a court jester that must receive a singing sword. Oh, classic. From the Black Knight and his fire-breathing dragon. Others include Tweety Pie, Speedy Gonzales, and Birds Anonymous. Where did that song come from? Because that's not him. He's still there, by the way. Okay, this is going to be the last one. I thought it would be a great one to end today on. And then we're going to wrap it up. Mel Blanc's gravestone is beyond appropriate. That song is a smaller bird in the bush below. I think the smaller bird, I don't know if he could land on top of that cactus because of how long the little needles are. But that other bird is big. I guess he can somehow do it. But that little bird doesn't ever go on the cactus. The big bird does. But the big bird is strangely silent right now. And the little one is the one making the noise. Any fan of Looney Tunes knows how the show owes a lot to voice actor Mel Blanc. He was the voice behind almost all of the show's most iconic characters, essentially making the show possible or impossible without him. His work on Looney Tunes has established him as one of the most prolific prolific and impactful voices and voice actors of all time. Yet, Looney Tunes isn't the only show that blank lent his voice to. He was also involved in the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Tom and Jerry. His gravestone at Hollywood Forever Cemetery reads very simply, "That's all, folks." And that was in reference to Porky Pig's catchphrase at the end of every episode. And that will conclude today's Looney Tunes. 5 more in the next video. Anthony Spices, great sauce for the money. It's $8.99. This is a very flavorful sauce. It's vinegary, so it's kind of, it's a little more vinegar forward than I was expecting reading the ingredients, the way they're listed. Matters not. It's a very, very tasty sauce. It's hot. They underpromised and overdelivered. It's a delicious sauce. Just lose the flow restrictor. In the description box, you will see Anthony Spices. You watch. I'll get them to lose it. It's silly. I mean, let's say you sell 1 million bottles of hot sauce. They're a penny a piece. Do the math. Right there, that's my pepper. You click that pepper, it's our pepper. It's how to get on the bus. I'm just the driver. If you want to catch stuff way over and above what you see here, get your bus pass. Hit the tab that says join. It's $4.99. You will not be disappointed. Hit notifications. Come back and visit us daily so you miss nothing. Right there is Tommy Boy. Tommy, that's my brother's channel. Also, I'm going to put a link to, I want you all to go over to my son, Johnny Jr., Johnny Scoville Jr. He has a channel, and he is doing videos, and he's great at it. I'm wicked proud of him, so check him out. Right here are all the challenges I've done. Right here is Pepperology. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this was Chase the Heat.